Hi everyone, this is Anna Viriano from Perfect Resins Natural Health Counseling, and today I just want to talk to you about bread. So I don't eat a lot of bread, but when I do, I either make my own sourdough bread, or I will buy a sprouted grain bread, or look for something that doesn't have wheat in it. When you buy that kind of bread, it can be very expensive. So this little loaf of bread here, it's a sourdough millet bread. This little loaf was $10. So I don't mind spending $10 on a loaf of bread because this will probably last me for a month. And I don't freeze it whole, because if I did, when I took it out of the freezer, it would be like a solid block of ice. So what I do is I slice it. I slice it in very thin slices, right? Because that also limits the amount of bread that you eat. So I won't do the whole entire loaf, but I want to give you an idea of what I do. Okay, so I'll slice it in thin slices. Use a really good sharp serrated knife, because if you don't, sometimes these breads tend to be a little bit crumbly and they'll just fall apart. Okay, so it's a pretty decent slice of bread, and I would probably only just have one of these. To make an open face sandwich, whether I toast it for breakfast and put an egg on it, or whether, I top it with some veggies and cheese, etc., to make an open face sandwich for lunch. So assume that I am going to cut this whole entire loaf of bread. And then what I do is I take each slice and I put a little piece of parchment paper on it, and you can reuse these over and over again. You'll see what I mean when I'm done. And then I basically rebuild the loaf. Make sure I start from the right side so the pieces are all the same size. I basically rebuild the loaf of bread, putting a piece of parchment paper between each one, because this is going to go in the freezer next. And if you just slice the bread and then stuck all the slices together and put it back in the freezer, they would all stick together, and when you try to take a slice out, you're going to be in trouble. So basically that's what I do. I do a slice and parchment paper, slice and parchment paper, slice and parchment paper, and I will keep going till the whole loaf is done. Then take the bag and put it back in the bag from where the loaf came from, putting it back in the same orientation, all right? So now you can see I've got it back in the bag, okay? And I will just keep going, right? I'll just cut another slice, put another piece of parchment paper, then wrap it up nice and tight. I usually take a straw and suck all the air out of it. Then I'll tie it up and put it in the freezer. And then when it comes out of the freezer and I just want one slice of bread, you can pretend these are frozen, it will just very easily come out from between the layers of parchment paper. And then I save these and use them again for next time. So there you go. A little tip for having your little slice of bread when you crave it, and for not letting that $10 loaf of bread get moldy or go to waste. I find, when you buy these lovely breads that are made from little local bakeries, they're not loaded with preservatives, so they're not going to be able to sit on your counter for 3 weeks, like the big commercial bakery breads that you buy. So hopefully you'll try this out, and a little hack that I think you'll love. Thanks. Bye-bye.